Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today we're cracking open Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, a book brimming with advice from folks like Andrew Carnegie.
Titans of industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking presidents, five and dime kings, even steamship magnates.
Empire builders.
Yeah, these guys built empires.
Mm.
Hill says there's a secret to their success hidden in these pages, though. What do you think? Is he just trying to hook us, or is there something deeper going on here?
It's a good hook, that's for sure. Even beyond that whole secret thing, though, he keeps coming back to burning desire. Like, that's the key to wealth.
Okay, yeah.
He tells this story about Edwin Barnes, who was so set on working with Thomas Edison, not just for him,
Right.
that he shows up at Edison's lab, and he's broke, right? No money for a return ticket if things don't work out.
Wow. That's commitment. But Hill also talks about Marshall Field, didn't he? The guy who rebuilt his store after the Chicago fire, on the exact same spot.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like that kind of unwavering, resolve to rebuild,
Sure.
That's going to be a powerful example of burning desire in action.
Oh, totally. Field's story, just like Barnes's, shows how desire can push you to overcome some crazy odds.
It's more than just wanting something, right? It's like this deep down belief that you will achieve it no matter what. Have you ever felt that way about something,
Yeah.
something you wanted, really wanted?
Oh, yeah.
What was it about that goal that, lit that fire in you?
That's a great question. Then Hill switches gears and talks about persistence. Uses that cautionary tale of Darby, the guy who gave up digging for gold 3 feet from striking it rich.
Ugh, heartbreaking.
I know, right?
But man, it's such a powerful reminder, setbacks, they're going to happen.
Yeah.
But giving up too soon, that's the real killer. What's interesting, though, is how Darby used that whole experience to fuel his success later on in the insurance industry.
Interesting.
Maybe this ties back into Hill's secret.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's all about learning from those screw-ups and using them to push you forward.
So it's not just about wanting something bad. It's about having the guts to keep going when things get tough.
You got it. Hill compares it to an electrician bringing up the lights, gradually. It's those small actions, those consistent actions, even when you can't see the full picture yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of guys who refuse to give up, Henry Ford
Ah, yes, Henry Ford.
insisted his engineers make a V8 engine even when they told him it was straight up impossible.
Stubborn, right.
Yeah, but Ford's belief in his vision, that's what eventually led to that revolutionary design.
Ford is the poster child for Hill's definiteness of purpose thing.
Oh, yeah.
Not enough to just have a fuzzy idea of what you want.
Right.
You need that crystal clear vision, right? And the plan to back it up. Hill has this story, too, about a guy who wanted to build a transcontinental railroad, face setback after setback, but just kept refining his plans until he finally got the money.
Yeah, this story shows the link between having something definite and actually taking action. Like having a goal, that's one thing, but having a plan, even one that you got to tweak along the way, that's what separates those dreamers from the doers.
So would you say having a plan and being willing to adapt it, is that another piece of Hill's secret?
Could be. It seems like all these successful people had that clear vision and the tenacity to see it through.
Yeah, yeah. But Hill also gets into imagination, right?
Yeah.
And breaks it down into these two types,
Yeah.
synthetic and creative.
Right, right. He says synthetic imagination is about taking existing ideas and kind of rearranging them, putting them together in new ways, while creative imagination, that's like tapping into a deeper well, a deeper source.
But synthetic is working within existing frameworks, and creative is about breaking new ground.
Yeah, think about the difference between a tech company just tweaking an existing app and an entrepreneur who's boom, brand new business model.
So how can people, our listeners, how can they actually cultivate these different types of imagination? Can you learn it, or are you just born with it?
It's, I think it's a bit of both, Everyone's got some capacity for both types of imagination, but like anything, you can get better at it.
Right, okay.
For the synthetic kind, you can try deliberately mixing ideas from different areas.
Okay.
What if you took, I don't know, music and applied it to architecture, something like that. For the creative kind, sometimes you just got to clear out the clutter.
Yeah, yeah.
Meditation can help, or just spending time in nature, even being bored. Sometimes that's all it takes for those new insights to pop up.
So you got to work those imagination muscles, right?
Yeah, exactly. Don't just wait around for inspiration.
Speaking of which, Hill's also big on specialized knowledge, but he's quick to point out that it's not about just, memorizing a bunch of facts. He brings up the story of Henry Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Being sued for being an ignorant pacifist.
Ouch.
Yeah. But despite not having a ton of formal education, Ford was able to show, like, a surprising depth of knowledge when it really mattered.
That's Hill's point, right? Knowledge is only powerful if you know how to use it.
Yeah.
He compares it to, like, a lawyer. A lawyer needs to know the law, obviously, but they also got to know how to make a good argument to the jury, how to persuade them.
Okay, so it's like knowing what knowledge to get and how to use it the right way.
Yeah, that's it.
Reminds me of the story about Stuart Austin Weir. Going back to law school at 40, he knew that to get where he wanted to be, he needed to, like, invest in himself, even if it meant stepping outside his comfort zone. What about you? Any areas you feel like you need to brush up on?
Always. But, okay, moving on. Let's talk about one of Hill's most interesting ideas, the mastermind principle.
Oh.
He calls it the power of, like, collaborative thinking. When you get a group of people together all focused on the same goal, they can achieve way more than anyone could on their own.
So it's like harnessing that collective intelligence and experience.
Exactly. He gives this example of a woman who helped her son get a job, right?
Yeah.
She made this whole plan book, researched his competitors, brainstormed ideas for the employer. It wasn't a formal group or anything.
Right.
But she basically created a mastermind to give her son a leg up.
That's a really interesting way to think about it. It makes the whole mastermind thing seem more, I don't know, accessible, like anyone can do it.
Totally. It doesn't have to be a bunch of, high-powered executives in a boardroom.
Right.
It's about finding people who offer different perspectives, people who support your vision. Think about it. Who could be in your mastermind group?
Ooh, good question. But before we go too far down that road, we got to talk about fear.
Oh, yeah. The elephant in the room.
More like 6 elephants, right? Hill's 6 ghosts of fear. He lays them out as these major roadblocks, things that can keep you from reaching your goals.
Fear of poverty, criticism, getting sick, losing love, old age, and death.
Yeah, the heavy hitters. He tells this pretty unsettling story about a guy on death row waiting to be executed, but he's like strangely calm.
Really?
Yeah, and the guy says it's because he's accepted his fate.
Huh. That kind of reminds me of what Hill says about making decisions, even when you're scared. Like, just the act of choosing, even if it's a tough choice, can, like, free you from all that worry and indecision. And Hill says indecision, that's where fear breathes.
So how do we get rid of these, like, fear mongers, these ghosts? Can you just ignore them and hope they go away?
Well, Hill says the answer to fear is action. It's about making clear decisions, not just about your goals, but about how you're going to handle your fears.
Got it.
And remember, he says fear is contagious, but so is courage.
So by choosing to act, we're not only overcoming our own fears, but we're, like, inspiring others to do the same.
You got it. And that leads us to another one of Hill's big ideas, the power of the subconscious mind.
Ah, yes, the subconscious.
He spends a lot of time in the book talking about how your subconscious can work for you, even when it comes to those fears we were just talking about.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. How can we, like, harness the power of the subconscious? You can't just, like, order it around, can you?
No, you're right. It's not about, like, direct control. It's about understanding how it works, and then using that to your advantage. Remember how we talked about autosuggestion before?
Yeah.
That plays a big role here.
So if you keep feeding your mind positive thoughts, you can actually, like, reprogram your subconscious.
Yeah.
Make it align with what you want.
It's like brainwashing yourself for success.
Okay, I like it. But there's got to be a catch.
Well, there's a catch. Our subconscious, it doesn't know the difference between positive and negative thoughts. It'll manifest your fears just as easily as your desires.
So if you're always worried about money, for example, your subconscious could actually be attracting more poverty.
It's a powerful thing to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of scary, actually.
That's why Hill is always talking about protecting your mind from negativity. He compares it to, like, a magnet.
Okay.
Your mind attracts the things you focus on the most.
So how do you go from attracting, like, scarcity to attracting abundance?
It all comes back to those 13 principles Hill talks about.
Right.
He says that when you use them consistently, they act as, like, stimuli for your subconscious. They basically rewire it to attract success.
So it's not just about reading the book and hoping for the best. It's about putting those principles into action, like in your everyday life.
Yeah, that's the key. And it starts with understanding how your subconscious works and then making a choice, a conscious choice about what thoughts you let in. This is where, like, faith and auto-suggestion come in.
Okay.
You got to believe, truly believe that you can reach your goals and then use affirmations, use visualizations to, like, really impress those beliefs on your subconscious.
So it's like making this mental blueprint, right?
Yeah,
And then you're handing it over to your subconscious to build.
exactly.
It's amazing how Hill ties thought and action together.
Right.
But even with the right mindset, the right tools, it's easy to lose motivation. How do you keep going, especially when you hit those roadblocks, those challenges?
Remember Darby and his gold mine. He could have given up, right? But instead, he used that experience to succeed in a totally different field. Persistence is about more than just willpower.
Okay.
It's about having that vision, that clear vision, and refusing to let go no matter what gets thrown at you.
So you're saying setbacks are going to happen, but they don't have to be the end of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, organized planning comes in.
Mm.
Hill talks about having a definite plan, but he also says you got to be adaptable,
Right.
willing to change course as you go, learn from what happens, and refine your strategy. Like, he compares it to sailing a ship.
Okay.
You might set out for a certain destination, but you got to be ready to handle storms, adjust your sails to catch the wind.
I like that. It's like the pursuit of any worthwhile goal. It's
Yeah.
a dynamic, right?
Yeah, totally. It's not always going to be smooth sailing.
Right.
And that's where that mastermind principle can really help you navigate those choppy waters. When you've got people around you who believe in you, who challenge you, who support your vision, it's like you tap into this collective strength.
It's like having a crew of experienced sailors on board.
Yeah. They can guide you, support you when things get rough. Speaking of crews, remember how Hill compares the mastermind to a bunch of batteries?
Yeah.
When you connect them, they generate way more power than any single battery could alone.
Right. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. We're stronger together.
Okay, so we've got the burning desire, the plan, the fearless mindset, a supportive crew, and there we're working with our subconscious. What else do we need to know to, like, really make this think and grow rich thing work?
Well, Hill's big on action, too. It's not just all mental, He's got that famous quote, faith without works is dead.
Right.
You got to take those desires and turn them into steps, actual steps. And that's where specialized knowledge and imagination come back in.
So it's blending that inner work, like the mindset stuff with outer action. Like all those things have to be aligned to really create that force for success.
Exactly. You need the skills, the information to get where you're going, and then you got to use your imagination to come up with creative solutions, strategies.
Be resourceful.
Right.
Use all the tools you've got.
Yeah. But even with all the right pieces, there will be times when you feel discouraged. When those 6 ghosts of fear try to creep back in, what do you do then?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's easy to get off track, lose momentum when things get tough. How do you stay focused?
Hill says to remember that setbacks happen, but they don't have to derail you. He says to look at challenges as opportunities to grow, as like tests of your commitment.
Okay.
He actually says that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit.
Wow.
The key is to learn from your mistakes, change your approach if you need to, and just keep moving.
So it's all about seeing those challenges as part of the journey,
Yeah.
right? Not like a sign that you should quit.
Exactly. Think about it. Every successful person has faced setbacks. It's how they handle them that makes the difference.
That's a good point. One thing that really stuck with me about Hill's whole philosophy is that he talks a lot about service.
Oh, yeah.
He's saying that real wealth isn't just about money. It's about using what you've got, your talents, your resources, to make a positive impact.
Hill believed that your drive to build wealth should come from wanting to give something back, to contribute. He wrote that the person who renders the most service gets the most pay.
Mm.
He even went so far as to say that wealth that you get through selfish or unethical means, you'll eventually lose it.
So it's about connecting your financial goals to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, using your success to help others.
That's pretty cool.
Huh.
Another thing that's really inspiring about Think and Grow Rich is how much Hill believes in the power of the human mind.
He was writing during the Great Depression, Imagine the impact his message had back then. People were struggling just to survive, and he's telling them, you are not defined by your circumstances. You have the power to create a better future.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. And it's still relevant today, right?
Absolutely. There's so much negativity around us, messages telling us we're not good enough, that we can't reach our dreams. But Hill's like, nope, you have the power to choose your thoughts, to create a mindset of abundance.
So it all comes back to, like, mind control.
He says we either control our minds or our minds control us. And that choice is up to us.
That's a pretty powerful statement.
Hill reminds us that man's only limitation within reason lies in his development and use of his imagination.
So we all have this incredible potential, and it's our responsibility to, like, nurture it, to develop it.
Totally, but that takes work.
Yeah.
Time, effort, dedication. It's not some quick fix, it's a journey.
A journey, not a destination. And Hill gives us the map, those 13 principles, to guide us along the way.
Yeah, he gives us the ingredients, but it's up to us to bake the cake.
Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, let's take a minute to go over what we've learned. We talked about burning desire and persistence, specialized knowledge, the mastermind, even those 6 ghosts of fear, and, of course, the power of the subconscious.
It's been a lot, so now let's break it all down. Like, what
Yeah.
can you actually do with all this?
Yeah, give us the cheat sheet. Where do we start?
First things first, you got to figure out what your burning desire is. Like, what do you really want? Not what you're supposed to want, but what lights you up.
Okay.
Write it down, picture it, feel what it would be like to already have it. That's how you start using that auto-suggestion thing we talked about.
So you're making that mental blueprint
Right.
and then imprinting it on your subconscious.
Exactly. Next, you got to make a plan, a clear plan for reaching that goal. Break it down into smaller steps, make it manageable.
Got it.
And remember, your plan doesn't have to be perfect right away.
Yeah.
It just has to get you moving in the right direction. Be flexible. Things change, you got to adapt.
So we've got the burning desire, the plan. But what about those fears? How do you keep them from messing things up?
That's where action comes in. Make a decision to face those fears head on. Don't give them power by thinking about them all the time.
Okay.
Focus your energy on what you want to achieve. Remember, Hill says fear usually comes from not making a decision.
Right, that indecision thing.
Yeah, when you make a choice, even a tough one, it takes away some of that fear.
So shift your focus from what you're scared of to what you want.
Oh, right.
Replace those negative thoughts with positive ones.
You got it. And this is where your mastermind can really help. Find people who believe in you, who support you, who will keep you accountable.
Like a support system, right?
Exactly. You don't have to do this alone. Now, to actually make things happen, to get results, you need those other principles we talked about, specialized knowledge and imagination. Go out there and learn what you need to know.
Right.
Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Find mentors. Learn from other people's experiences.
And don't forget imagination.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's how you solve problems, come up with new ideas, see new possibilities.
Be resourceful. Use your creativity. Use every tool you've got to bring your vision to life.
So it's all about taking action, but it's also about being smart about it.
Exactly. And one last thing. As you're working towards your goals, think about how you can use your success to help others.
Okay, yeah.
Make a positive impact. Connect your financial goals with something bigger than yourself.
So there's not one secret to wealth, right? It's more like a whole bunch of principles that work together.
Yeah, and when you combine those with burning desire and persistence, that's when the magic happens.
And it's not just about money either. It's about having abundance in all areas of your life. Spiritual, mental, material, all of it.
He'll believe that everyone has untapped potential, like this well of creativity and power just waiting to be unleashed.
He talked about how the potential inside each of us is like the universe. Vast, limitless, ready to be explored. This book, Think and Grow Rich, it's more than just a self-help book, right? It's like a call to action.
Yeah, an invitation to discover what you're truly capable of.
He says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Powerful stuff.
So as you continue on your journey, think about this. What beliefs are holding you back? What's stopping you from tapping into that unlimited potential?
Keep thinking, keep those desires burning, and keep diving.
That's it for this deep dive. Until next time.